Welcome to the Contrarians. Tonight's topic, bands held back by their names. Look at Tofat. Come on, you know why they didn't make it. Anyway, panel's here. Let's do it. Let's keep it real. Welcome to the Contrarians, and tonight we have I always say this because it's true. It is because it's true. Another great panel. We've got Tate, we've got Nick Esquire, we've got Jeff, we've got the Parish of Rock. And tonight we are talking about bands that are held back by their band names. I'm not sure who came up with this. I was asking who came up with this topic. It was no one here. It probably just dropped down from the heavens as far as I'm concerned, but I like it. It's a great topic. So we're going to go, I'm not exactly sure how long we'll go. We'll go an hour. And I guess we'll go around as many times as we can. How many picks did everybody pick? How many do you have?
3.
3 to 6, but I could do it.
Okay, let's play it by ear, and we're just going to go around once. One, go around. So I'm going to go as I see them. Tate, Nick, Jeff, the Parish, and we'll just go around. So, Tate, nice to see you. Panel, welcome. Nice to see everybody. What's your first pick?
So I want to preface this by saying that I think this is going to be less, it's going to be kind of a combination of highlighting great bands that I think were kind of held back by their name, and just my attempts to try to poke fun at great bands that I think just have utterly ridiculous names, and try to have a laugh at their expense. So my first pick is a pretty obscure British hard folk prog band. I guess you could kind of classify them in all 3 of them. They put out 2 albums in early mid-70s and then broke up due to lack of success. I think they were on a minor record label. I'm not sure off the top of my head. And then there was a lost album that was released with a box set with the first 2 albums by this band. The band I'm talking about is an obscure British band called Hard Meat.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's kind of funny.
Yeah,
thus being held up.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. I mean, the name speaks for itself. I mean, no one is going to be compelled to buy an album in 1973 with a band of the name Hard Meat. And it's a shame because they're a great band. If you get a chance to listen to their 3 albums, I think the album that I like the best is called Through a Window. And that's great, kind of mixed between maybe like Jethro Tull, maybe some Rolling Stones, with hints of Uriah Heep and Deep Purple. There's a really cool instrumental like acoustic guitar number off of their Lost album called Liquid Boats. That's really, really cool. They do a really good cover of Most Likely You'll Go My Way, or Most Likely I'll Go Your Way by Bob Dylan. Just overall, a really, really great band that just has a bad name. And I just think that the name was stupid enough to where the record buying public wasn't going to really entertain themselves with a band with the name Hard Meat. So that is my first pick. Hard Meat.
Oh God, this is going to be so fun. Yeah, I just got one. Just one that came to my mind since you mentioned Hard Meat. I'll bring it up. I was just going to host this, but now I have to bring it up if no one brings it up. But I'll let you all go first. But I'm just going to laugh my ass off. Okay, Nick, what's your first pick?
Thanks, Grant. I've road tested some of these band names with my college-age daughter. We're on a road trip, so she agreed with most of them. So I have the opinion of a 21-year-old, except for maybe one band name. And for the artist bands that I'm going to show you today, I like them, except for one. I may have an honorable mention of a band that I don't really like, and their name is just brutal. And they were never really that big. But I'm going to start with a band that I mentioned the other night. We did a panel that hasn't been posted yet about bass players and underappreciated bass players. And a band name came up, and I'm like, that band name that just held them back. It's bad. So I'll just point to the album first. These guys. Except, that's a terrible name. First of all, is it EXCEPT? Is it ACCEPT? What does that mean? The music does not match the name. They were forever explaining what the band name meant. I remember articles back in the 80s. Well, what does it mean? I know some issue with German translation, and it kind of fits well with other languages. But as far as I'm concerned, that's not a band name that fits music like Fast as a Shark or Balls to the Wall. So I just think it kind of held them back. I think they needed something heavy like Udo's Ass Cheek or something like really that fit their personality. So I think that name.
Or maybe spell it a different way, like except.
Whatever.
Not except, but except.
X-sept, but
something like that. That would be better. But who am I? I'm just some dude.
I've gotten used to that name. I'm going to see them next month for the first time in forever, and I just think that they did themselves a disservice by sticking with that name. And I understand that their music sort of like evolved a bit from when they first formed, and then released initial albums to become this sort of settle into this heavy metal sound. But I just think it didn't help them out.
I don't think it's definitely don't think that's a good album cover. Yeah, it's nicely shot. Show that album, throw up that Balls to the Wall, just for people that maybe don't.
Oh, I don't have a problem with the cover. It's just
I do. I remember when we were kids and that came out, and we looked at that cover and we went, "I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that."
A professional shot of some balls. What can you complain about?
No, we looked at that and went, "No, we're not. No." We just laughed. We thought that was hilarious. Yeah, if you're in an S&M club, maybe you're ready to go. Or you're maybe a pen pal to Rob Halford. I don't know. I'm just saying, when we were, in early high school, we said, no, I wouldn't buy that. No.
You didn't accept that kind of thing.
I didn't accept it.
That's right.
I didn't accept it either. So
right.
I get it.
You were going on about how Billy Squire and the pink shirt and dancing around the bedroom.
Well, that didn't bother me.
With that, nobody had any, but actual metal leather guys, you didn't like. I see where the line between us is, Grant.
Yeah, maybe. But don't forget, when Billy Squire video, no one thought twice about that. All that bullshit came later, where, it was because of that pink shirt that killed my career. Didn't think twice about it. Everybody's flopping around on the floor in pink shirts. Didn't matter. Huh? Well, maybe Jeff Halverson wasn't.
Or the bands.
You can't tell me you didn't wear a button-down pink shirt once.
I have never owned one.
Mm-hmm. I bet he has.
Closest I ever had, cinnamon polo shirt, and it didn't last long.
Okay, well, that counts.
And that was way past the 80s, so I had no excuse.
Yeah, but Billy, he wasn't doing anything unusual. I just don't think his records were as good.
Wasn't the pink,
and people got, everybody has their moment, He went up, hit peak early, went down. No big deal. Happens. All right, Jeff. Thank you, Nick, by the way. We're already on a tangent, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Nick, Jeff, you're up.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that band name, but you're right. It doesn't make any damn sense. I'm just so used to it. It doesn't. And I don't mind it. So I'm actually trying to take I had a little Martin in my head when I was thinking about this. And he was saying, how do you even pronounce this? What is this pile of letters? So some of what I'm doing, I'm trying to actually think of things where I think it really did hold the band back, because I'd really like to just sit here and rip on stupid band names. That would be fun. But I'm only going to do that once. So there's this really obscure band that I don't think you guys know that nobody's ever listened to this. They had the wussiest name. They tried to be hard rock. They were called Kiss. Nobody cared.
Never heard of them.
Got that? Okay. I either get Grant completely freaking out or Grant just absolutely stoic, like, oh, he's back on his bullshit again. Okay, no, that's not really mine. That was an attempt at a joke. Crocus. Crocus was not helped in the same way that Accept, I think, wasn't helped. Crocus was pretty, though they covered a lot of different metal sounds. You know, they sounded a little like Priest here and there. They sounded kind of like AC/DC. They weren't an exact copy of anything. And I think there was room for them. I think they would have been fine. But I don't think that being called Crocus did them any favors.
Do you know where the name came from?
Yeah, from the flower, right? I mean,
no. Take off the K. It's Rockus.
Oh, I thought it was.
That's kind of cool. I never thought about it.
So it is the flower. It's how they spell. That's how they spell crocus in Germany. But the reason they picked the name was because if you took off the letter K, it's Rockus.
Well, I think
now the problem is most people didn't know that.
Yeah, that doesn't really help the case, really.
Yeah, but they had a lot of success. I don't think that they took right off, but a lot of those early 80s albums did really well.
They were always an also ran, you know, at the time that even their best album had out, that'd be about the time Screaming for Vengeance was out. So who got the attention? Well, it wasn't Crocus. I mean, I don't think they were destined to be, you know, if it was only just not for that band name, they would have been on top of Priest. Probably not, but I think they could have done a little better. I think it would have helped. So
all right, good. All right, good choice.
That's my choice.
Excellent. All right, let's throw it over to the Parish of Rock. Parish.
So for my first one, I'm actually going to read a quote from the guitarist. And this is from the singer. And what he said was, the name was meant to be a joke. We took the name simply because we wanted the record because the record companies wouldn't listen to any band that played rock and roll. They wanted surefire teen bands, pre-teen bands. We couldn't get anyone down to hear us from the record companies, so we called ourselves
the Bay City Rollers. No, what?
The Babies.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Bay City Rollers.
No, it's the Babies. So I've picked the Babies because I think they're a great band. I think they're a great sort of AOR band. You could almost borderline power pop, I guess. And let's be honest, they had they did pretty well. They were quite successful. But if you look at the other bands which were around at the time, such as Journey and Kansas and Styx, I think the name The Babies probably held them back. And I think maybe initially it was a joke, but I think they stuck with it for too long. And if they'd come up with a better name, I think they would have been more successful. I think they certainly would have been more successful in the UK, but I think they'd be more successful in the States. I think they may have suffered because people thought they sounded like a boy band or a pop band. And as a result of that, they weren't as big, as I say, as the likes of a Styx or a Journey or REO Speedwagon. So that's my first one.
Yeah, I love the Babies. I could do a show on the Babies. I don't know, because everybody else has probably done a show, but we haven't done one in the warehouse. I love all that John Waite stuff too.
Yeah,
his solo catalog. Jeez, there's some really great stuff. He's such a great singer. Love John Waite. Anyway, Parish, that's a good. I think that name probably might have something to do with it, though. You know, put out some good records. All right, the one I'm going to go with. Hopefully, I can come up with more. We'll see how it goes. Now, did anybody choose? I'm going to give you a hint because if someone else has chosen, I'll let you talk about it. The band that Lee Kerslake and Ken Hensley were in prior to Uriah Heep. No? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Band that I'm going to go with, like I said, Ken Hensley, Lee Kerslake, John Glasslock, who later played bass for Jethro Tull. There was a singer called Cliff Bennett. There was an album that came out, I believe they formed in 1969. They pretty much blended hard rock blues. I bought the CD as a twofer. I knew about it. I'd never seen it in the wild, but oh my God, when I was I don't know, doing Uriah Heep or something. Who knows? I saw one of these in the wild, a two for both records. So they only put two records out. They had no success really. Nothing here in the States. But Cliff Bennett was a British singer who was in the band Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers back in the day. So anyway, so the name of this band, they put out two records, one in 1970, one in 1971. You're just going to laugh because you know this is what killed them. The band was Toe Fat.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Oh yeah.
That band sucks. Yeah,
I will
terrible.
say they did an excellent cover of Elton John's "Bad Side of the Moon" on that first album.
Look at
that
Tate
name.
going
Best
in for
cover
the
of
win.
"Bad Side of the Moon" ever was done by Toe Fat.
Mhm.
That's a good one, Grant. That was a really good one.
So yeah, their debut came out on Parlophone. You know, like I said, it's blues, hard rock. There's nothing wrong with it. Look who's in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fine. It's a great band. Though I do think that Toe Fat 2, if I'm wrong, I don't know. I think they might have had some lineup changes. Okay. Toe Fat 2 didn't have Ken or Lee in it, but the first album did. They went on to Uriah Heep before the second album. Second album's still good though. Bad Name, horrible. Hypnosis did the album covers. I'm pretty damn sure. I know they did the first one. Horrible. Absolutely hideous. Check them out.
So what you're saying is, if somebody went in a record shop, they weren't prepared to say, "Do you have toe fat?" Is that what you're saying?
Would you? Hey, I'm looking for Toe Fat and Accept. The guy, one with the guy's leg holding a ball. Do you have that? No, we don't know. There it is. Makes me uncomfortable. Well, hey, when you're 15, you know, I'm not buying that. All right, cool. So there you go. There's my pick. All right. Tate, you're up.
All right. In the second installment of obscure bands with bad names that may or may not have held them back, we go to Sweden. In the early 1970s, this band put out two albums. One's a studio, one's a live recording, kind of like a jazz fusion type band. The band I'm talking about is, get ready for it, da 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 da, Flasket Briner. Yeah, exactly. Flasket Briner.
Okay. All right.
The name speaks for itself. If you like jazz fusion, if you like largely instrumental, rock music, this is your band. Think of like, maybe Weather Report without the horns, maybe a hint of Mahavishnu Orchestra, stuff like that. There's some vocals here and there, Chick Corea and Return to Forever. But yeah, Flasket Briner. Who came up with that name? I want to know the person who came up with that name. No wonder this band didn't sell. I mean, obviously, jazz fusion isn't going to be selling big millions in the early 70s, but holy cow, man. You couldn't have come up with anything better than that. Flasket Briner. Oh, man.
Maybe it meant something in Swedish.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm an American, and I find the name absolutely ridiculous. But a good band, really good band, though, if you like that jazz fusion, that early 70s guitar-led jazz fusion stuff.
All right. Cool. Good pick. Okay. God. I can only imagine. Nick, what you got up next?
I'm going to call an audible. I don't have a prop for this band because I thought of it on my road trip for 2 hours and discussing bad band names with my daughter. And it kind of came out of the blue because I like this band and I think their name really held them back. And the Parish of Rock is going to help me with this name. He's going to help explain why it was lousy. But it was an all-female band, early mid-70s, U.S. band, three vocalists, rock, hard rock, some cross-genre stuff, played with a lot of different people. The name of the band was called Fanny,
Bang.
Now we know in the US, fanny is slang name for derriere, rear end, etc. And I think that held them back as women because they really could play. They were very talented, are talented. Nikki Barclay, one of the vocalists, really a fantastic voice. She sang with the Grease band, and she left the band sort of maybe on their way down. I'm not sure, but she's a very talented person. I know she relocated to the UK and has had bands over there, but now she lives in semi-seclusion, I believe. But the problem is, as Parish is going to explain, that name is even worse in the UK, as fanny does not mean derriere or rear end, correct?
No, it means something totally different, but I'm not going to spoil it for the viewers. They can Google it and see for themselves what it means.
That's
Google
right.
it and see what it means.
It's so loud. It's so bad for the band that you don't even want to discuss it. So
all I can say is if Ted Nugent had been English, he would have used the word a lot.
Fair enough.
God.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. But I just think it held them back. I think it probably held them back with radio. It held them back, and people would snicker. People, you're laughing. It's a whole thing. So, and of course, I don't know, how it translates in Europe and other places. But I just think for a talented band and women who are trying to be taken seriously,
right? It's
just it's like a joke name. You know what I mean? So, unfortunately for them, and they were very talented in their music. I know there's a documentary about them now, and but their music was much better than their name would suggest.
Yeah, I've never heard any. I know of them. I've never heard any.
They're a good band. They're really good.
Real deal.
You've never heard it.
Really good album.
You've never heard any Fanny.
Yeah, Fanny.
Well, I might have seen a Fanny once, a couple times.
Yeah, probably.
I've never seen them live.
I'm not sure if I could recognize one, but I think I've seen one.
Parish, I've never seen Fanny live. That's the problem.
I've only seen pictures.
That's my lot in life.
All right, cool. Good choice. I thought that's where you were going because I couldn't think of anybody else in that time period. So, but I did not know that it was really a derogatory name. We're all learning something new here.
I don't know if it's derogatory, but it is slang. So,
I think it means, I don't think it's good. Right, Parish?
It's not.
Okay, it's not good. All right, let's throw it. Thank you, Nick. All right, I can hardly wait to see what Jeff's got. Go ahead, Jeff.
All right, so this will be one where it's a band that I'm not particularly into, though I checked them out, and I think I actually might like them. And I didn't know this because they've got a stupid name, and I never paid attention to them. I think there's a lot of bands with stupid names that I'm going to try not to give any examples just because I don't want to step on any toes, or maybe somebody else is going to use them. But, bands that are absolutely popular, I guess I can go with Kiss. That's kind of a silly name to me, but obviously it didn't hurt them. How could they get bigger than they were? But for bands that don't have that kind of, if you get enough momentum, you can overcome it. And if you're in a genre where it doesn't really matter, like I thought about some of the Gothic names, and some of those Gothic and EDM and that sort of thing. There's some pretty bad names out there, but I don't think it matters because that's a word of mouth kind of scene. And if you're any good, people are going to listen to you no matter what the hell it's called. But hard rock was a dime a dozen around this time. And I never paid attention to a band called Dangerous Toys because it just sounded stupid. And then I looked at the album cover and, well, that looks stupid. And okay, there's a clown. And I just don't care. Like, these guys must not be any good because they're doing this with it. And it turns out that, they're not bad. They're okay. They probably aren't going to go to the top of my metal chart personally, but I'm probably going to buy at least one or two of them. They're all right, but I don't think that band name helped them much. I don't think they ever got real big, and they did have some catchy stuff. They could have been a little bigger than they were, I would think, but I just thought they were a joke. And I think I remember seeing the CD for like $1. You know, even back in the day, it was like one of those, nobody wanted this. And I always thought that was why, because like, well, it looks stupid. So, I mean, you know, it's partly the name and partly the whole image they want to go with it, you know, the clown thing. I guess they were trying to do an Eddie, but, you know, Eddie was undead and did all this, was kind of cool, and this is a killer clown. Okay, sure, killer clowns. Go get them. So that's my.
Yeah, I mean, didn't they have like a hit here?
Yeah, they had, like
I can see this album cover, but I can't remember what the track was.
Something like Teasing and Pleasing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a red background with a big clown head on it.
Yeah.
And it looked like what, you know, now you think, hey, look, an ICP record I've never heard. Okay, whatever. But no, it's not that. It's somebody else had this idea first.
Here, I think Jeff was going to start describing Insane Clown Posse, but he didn't.
No,
That's another bad name.
Sure, but those guys, I mean, if you're into it, you're into it. And if you're the kind of person that is going to want to listen to ICP, you're not going to let the name stop you. You're going to probably say,
let other things stop you. Hopefully you're hearing. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Jeff. And thank God it wasn't Insane Clown Posse.
Nobody rose up to defend Dangerous Toys. Has anybody actually heard them?
I know. Didn't Rock Candy put out a couple of their reissues, some of their CDs? Pretty sure. Maybe.
Their vocalist now is famous for filling in with bands. He's been in Dirty Looks and he's been in Accept.
All comes back to Accept, everybody.
Yeah, that's right. Jason McMasters. He has good. He also has a podcast or something on YouTube. I've seen it. Good. So they're around. They're still in music. And I think they still play once in a while. They're down in Texas.
Cool.
All right, cool. All right, Jeff, thanks. All right, the Parish.
Well, I've decided I've taken this far too seriously. So my next one is this band, Angel City. And the reason I'm saying the name held them back is because they kept changing it. 1 minute they were the Angels in Australia. Then they decided they couldn't be called the Angels in the rest of the world because of Angel. So they then changed it to Angel City, which the band didn't like it, and nor did the fans. Then they changed it to the Angels from Angel City. So every album that came out pretty much came out with a different band name. And then finally they came back to the Angels. I think by constantly changing the band name, it would have confused any fan base, and therefore the name, or in this case, the names, would have set them back and would have stopped them from getting a following. So, as I say, far too serious for the rest of everything else's examples. But that's my second one.
All right, cool. I'll go. That sounds good. I'm good with that.
Clear that Angel and the Angels or Angel City were different bands. I wasn't entirely clear on that.
Well, there you go.
Until actually today, when I realized I'd bought that Angel album, like I said I was going to. And
the first one, right? With Tower on it.
And I only listened to the one track because I got a bunch of catching up to do. And boy, you were right. That is a hell of a track.
Jeff, you'll learn that I'm always right.
No, sometimes you're, it's like being right, but you missed.
That's probably more the case than me being right. I'm never really right, but yeah, you can't. That first Angel album, it's awesome.
I can't wait to get to the rest of it. I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
Well, they're the first two are the best, I think, and then they kind of go down from there.
And they would be an example of where Angel City changing around so much. I didn't realize Angel was a separate band that I should possibly check out.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was just an early Angel City album. I didn't know.
Yeah, I get it. All right. I just have to laugh. This is a band that came out of San Antonio, Texas, 1981. very chaotic live, surreal lyrics, genre-defying sound. They blended punk, like punk, psychedelia, noise rock, all kind. It's just a bizarre band. The fact that they even took off. Well, they had one hit, Pepper. What was that, in 83, 84? Going to go with the Butthole Surfers. Now, the album covers were horrible. The name was horrible. Well, the album with Pepper, Larry, what was it? Oh, with the pencil coming out of the ear, with the gushing out. It's a decent record, though. I kind of dig them.
Yeah. I never minded Butthole Surface.
They're very... I don't really know how to describe them because they are kind of unique for what they do. And I mean,
Larry Land. That's the name of the album you're thinking.
Larry Land. Yeah. So I'll check them out. I'd be interested if anybody else likes them or not. But it is a terrible name. It's like you start this band in college, you come up with this name. I don't think they ever thought that they were going to make it or anything. And I'm surprised once they got signed that they still said, well, we like the band, but we're not too crazy about the name. Could you change it? I don't know if that ever happened, but hey, man, you did have a big hit. And I guess that was the 90s, not the 80s. Did I say the 80s?
I think the problem was, Grant, that was the name after they changed it. You should have heard what the name was before.
What was it?
I don't know mucking about.
Hell, the parish usually knows. He says something and I pay attention. So I'm going to go with the Butthole Surfers. I think that is a terrible name, but it makes you kind of laugh. It does. All right, let's throw it over to Tate. Tate, you're up.
Well, my last one for the evening is...
Yeah, that'll take us to about the right time. So let's just do another round.
My last one for the evening is related to the Tofat band revolving around the Uriah Heep family tree. This, I think, was released... I think it was before the first Tofat album. It's either before the first Tofat album or between the two Tofat albums, but it was just before Uriah Heep formed. And Ken Hensley, Lee Kerslake, and some of the other guys, I think, had left Tofat and then formed another band where they recorded an album. And the name of that band that released that one album is called Head Machine. And the name of the album is Orgasm. And all of the song titles revolving, or all the song titles on the album revolve around themes of sex, such as the title track Orgasm, the girl who came, Spreading Seeds, You Must Come With Me. Great album. Just, God, what were they thinking doing stuff like that? I don't know. If you like Uriah Heep, you'll like that Head Machine album. I really like that Head Machine album a lot. But you'd have to call me a liar if I told anybody that was a great band name. Enough said.
Yeah, not good. Poorly executed. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Is it better than Tofat?
And it's not much. No. Tofat's not really setting the bar's set pretty low with that.
No, I hand it to him. Go out. All right. Anybody who doesn't know Tofat, go out and search that album cover. Tofat first album. I'll leave it there. I'll just leave it there. I don't need to say anything else. All right. Thanks, Tate. All right. Let's turn it over to Nick Esquire. Nick, what you got?
All right. Also, it always comes back to Accept, doesn't it? The current vocalist in Accept is Mark Ternillo. He was in a band in the mid-late 80s into the 90s from Jersey, signed to Megaforce. Very heavy hard rock metal band. And they were really great. I got to see them live, and they're fantastic. However, their name is just brutal. Guitar player in that band, Dave DiPietro, went to play, I think, with Exodus, and he taught guitar to one of the guys in Skid Row and taught Zach Wilde. Anyway, but the band name is just not the greatest. PT Quick. PT Quick is a hard rock heavy metal band with a name that no one really could understand. At least I couldn't understand. I think it limited it to a wider audience. I just learned last couple of years that the TT stood for thrown together quick, because they didn't have a band name. So they were very hard rock, heavy metal, great sounding band, but the name to me just was kind of like meaningless and didn't do much for me. And it's related to Accept, so I had to go with it.
It's what we like about Nick. He has a theme when he does these shows. I like it. It's a theme within a theme.
I just wanted to show this one because it's very rare, that album. So it's
a horrible cover.
Oh yeah, it's done in 10 seconds with a little ink drawing. Sloppy Seconds.
Sloppy Seconds.
Yeah, that's the name of the album, Sloppy Seconds.
I could have drawn that. I could have drawn that. I'm a horrible.
Well, it was clearly thrown together quickly.
That's exactly it.
That's part of it. That's part of the art of it. Thrown together quickly. All right, cool. Thanks, Nick. I'll have to look that one up. Never heard of them. All right. Jeff, you're up.
All right. Well, I had some honorable mentions that we're probably not going to get to, but we're in 41 minutes in. We might have time for honorables, so just keep going. All right. Well, I want to make sure these guys get in. This is a band I actually really like, but the name is just dumb. Because again, Martin in my head. How do you pronounce that? And if you hear it said, well, how do you spell it? No, you're wrong. It's not spelled like that. So the band is called Chevy. S-H, basically S heavy. S-H-E-A-V-Y. And so it sounds, I'm assuming, I actually haven't heard them say it. So I don't really know how you're supposed to pronounce it, but I would assume you pronounce it Chevy. That's dumb. I don't like it. I don't like that name at all. They are a stoner rock band from the late 90s and early 2000s. They're actually one of the better stoner rock bands I've ever heard. They had several albums and they were pretty good. They're just, they're not up to the level of Sabbath, which I would kind of consider the original stoner rock, at least maybe from Paranoid or Master of Reality on. But their stuff is good. They had, I think one of the albums was Synchronized, Celestial Hi-Fi. I haven't heard a bad album from them yet. They've got kind of an Ozzy-like vocalist. He's not trying to copy Ozzy. They don't do a bunch of Sabbath covers or anything like that. But it does feel like they're trying to kind of carry on in that tradition a little bit. And they don't fuck it up. It's good. So band is totally worth hearing, but that name is just, when you get, that's the Martin in my head. When you get to as soon as you get to the name, you're like, how do I pronounce this? You screwed up already.
Yeah.
You didn't name it right. Or like in your case, Nick, with that, what the hell does TT quick mean? That's pretty dumb. That's really dumb. I like that choice. Makes me kind of want to check out the album. But if it's as good as you say it is, I'd probably like it. But
you want that one?
That's a better cover.
Yeah, Medal of Honor. Yeah, that was on Megaforce. It's very good.
Okay, all right. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks.
Well, wait till you get to my pick because you're wondering what a TT Quick is. You just wait. We know what Tofat is, at least. All right, Cool. Jeff, awesome. Perfect. And I'm going to have to bounce off the Parish when we get to mine because he may know more about it. He's my go-to. No, this is out of his world. All right, Parish, what is your next one?
Well, I'm going to take you in a time machine back to 1980 when the new wave of British heavy metal was king, certainly in the UK. And I was 16 and I was waiting for the heavy rock bands, the new wave of British heavy metal bands to come around. And we loved the bands based on how heavy the name of the band was. So you had Saxon and you had Samson and you had Iron Maiden, and you had Angel Witch, and you had Witch Find, you had Praying Mantis, and you had
I knew
this
you had to
band,
mention Witch Find.
and then you had this band, Girl.
Yeah.
Now, why would you, as a new wave of British heavy metal band, call yourself Girl? And the album is fantastic. The members were Phillis, who went on to LA Guns. You got Phil Collen, who went on to Def Leppard. Fantastic musicians. I'm convinced the name and the image which went with the name is what held them back. They would have been, I mean, even Def Leppard, which is a stupid name, at least it sounded heavy. Why would you call yourself Girl when you're a new wave of British heavy metal band? No way. So I'm convinced that they flopped because of the name and the image, because it's not to do with the musicianship and it's not to do with the songwriting. So that's my next one, or rather my last one, Girl.
Excellent. All right. Parish is probably going to have to, this might not be your alley, but you may know a bit about it. But I know here in this country, they are basically a one-hit wonder. And I guess it's a pretty good hit. But this band was formed in 1982 in Burnley, Lancashire. 1982. Very kind of eclectic. Very political. They had a hit singles in the late 90s here in the States. I'm not sure what they did over in the UK, but Parish, you may be, I might be my go-to on this, but the single was Tub Thumping. You remember that horrible thing.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Big. So I'm going with Chubbawamba. Now you're worried about what your other pick was called. What is Chubbawamba?
I have no idea,
Chubbawamba?
actually. I have no idea, but if I fall down, I'll just get back up again. That's all I've got to say about it.
But don't they play like thub thumping like in sporting events, and it's like an anthem?
Yeah,
like soccer games and stuff.
It's a drinking song, really.
Oh, that's why it was popular.
Yeah, it's a drinking song.
But that was the only thing they ever did here.
It's the only thing they ever did, as far as I know. It's the only thing they ever did.
What the freaking shit's a Chubbawamba? I don't know, but that couldn't have.
I don't know. But I'm going to. This one I will Google. Well,
I thought maybe it meant something over there in the UK.
Well, it may well do in Burnley, Lancashire, but it doesn't in my world. So I'll Google it.
Don't they have an M in there? Isn't it Chumba? Chumbawamba?
It's Chumbawamba. CHUMBAWAMBA.
I thought you were saying Chubba, like chubby.
Oh, I could. God knows what I'm talking about. I can barely speak. Anyway.
I did like that song.
You like it?
I love it.
They never play it anymore.
I thought I liked the lyrical content. I thought it was pretty cool.
But I think I'm looking here. They officially disbanded in 2012.
So this apparently is what it means, Grant.
Okay.
The name came from a dream that Dambert No Bacon, which was the lead singer, had about gender confusion. So that's where the name came from.
Gender confusion.
Yeah. In his dream, he found that the male and female public toilets, the male one was called a chumba and the female toilet was called the wamba.
Oh.
So that's where it came from. So obviously it doesn't mean anything at all, I guess is the answer.
All right. Well, it's a blending of the toilets. Okay.
It's the blending of the toilets.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Kind of fitting.
Kind of fitting. All right. Anyway, I never got it. They never did anything in the United States. Like I said, they had a 30-year career. They did a lot better over in the UK, I'm suspecting. But here, I don't think we could understand what a Chumbawamba is. And I don't.
They brought out a greatest hits album, but it only had one song on.
The greatest hit single.
The Parish is here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly.
He's here all week. It starts at 8. He's here all week. All right, cool. Well, all right. Who all has honorable mentions? Go ahead, Nick. We'll just go around. Go ahead. We got 10 minutes.
Well,
Go ahead.
let Tate go first. Yeah.
Oh, Tate, go. Hey, whatever. I don't care.
The Groundhogs. Tony
Oh,
McPhee.
I like that name.
Oh no, terrific band. I love them. Terrific band.
Yeah.
Why would you name a band after a large species of ground squirrel that
Who
has a
doesn't like
holiday?
ground squirrels?
That has an informal holiday on the 2nd day of February named after it in the United States.
They're a British
Americans
band.
look to for
They're a
for the weather forecast, for a 6-week weather forecast.
They're a British band, and it's an exotic animal over here. We don't have them. So
yeah, well, they got them. Well, yeah, they got the name. I think Tony McPhee got the name from the John Lee Hooker song "Groundhog Blues," because I know that in the '60s they used to back a lot of the blues acts that would tour through the UK at the time, and but no, great band.
Yep.
Like I can't even understate how great Split and Thank Christ for the Bomb and Hogwash and Who's Gonna Save the World, the Mighty Groundhogs and Black Diamond and Crosscut Saw. I'm getting ahead of myself, but those are a great band. Tony McPhee, rest his soul, fantastic guitar player. Not so much a great vocalist, but fantastic guitar player. Is like, I don't want to say that he's like the British Jimi Hendrix, but he's damn close. He was damn close to it. Yeah, Groundhogs. Terrible name, awesome band.
Cool. Excellent. All right, cool. Whoever wants to go next, go ahead.
I'll go next. I'll rattle off a couple. Maybe it's my problem. Maybe the name's okay, but as I discussed with my daughter, she did agree with me on this one. British band. Never knew how to pronounce it for years and years. Is it Savoy Brown or Savoy Brown? And what is a Savoy Brown? Is it really a color? It's made up. Savoy, they liked it. It was regal sounding. Brown, because it wasn't regal sounding. So, but I didn't get it.
Parish, how do you pronounce it?
Savoy Brown.
Savoy Brown.
Savoy.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to, like, I think Jeff mentioned, if you have to figure out how you pronounce the name, you got a problem. Next band might be a surprise, because I've mentioned them a bunch of times, and I live in their territory, but I just don't think their name did them any favors, and I'll go with Kix. And Kix is a name that sounded like Kiss. It's a little light sounding. The band was much heavier. I just think that they could have had a better name, and it seems that name's kind of light to me.
It seems like it'd been a good name for a power pop band.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Cereal.
Well, it doesn't sound heavy.
Well, Cereal, right. Well, it's better than the original name. The original name was called New NU Shoes, like SHOOZ. So Kix was an improvement, but you know what I mean? I think they could have done better.
Oh my God.
I'll give you a band name. I'll give you a band that I don't like, but it's sort of in that sort of vein that Tate was mentioning. Is really lousy names. But this band had 3 albums on Sire Records, mid to late 70s, and opened up for a ton of people from New Jersey, like TT Quick. And one of their guitar players went on to play with Stars, and he's sort of a blues guy, Bobby Massano. I don't have a prop, only because I don't listen to them, but they are out there on the algorithm. But their name is just one of the worst names. Stanky Brown. Stanky Brown. I don't know what that conjures up for you, but Stanky Brown. Feel free to look them up.
Stanky Brown. Or Stanky?
Stanky. STANKY. It's even worse. That's like in the past tense. Stanky Brown. I don't know where you're going with that. I've seen them as Stanky Brown Group, and they're out there. Must have their fans out there. They play with a ton of people, East Coast band, but that is a really lousy.
Is there a guy in the band called Stanky Brown?
No. So they went out and actually had to think of that. So I think I saw some pictures online, and their sound was all over the place. So they're really stanky, but New Riders of the Purple Sage, the Outlaws kind of thing, but they didn't really sound Southern rock to me. I think their last album was a bit heavier when Bobby Massano joined that band. He wasn't in there from the beginning, but that's just a brutal name. I'll throw one more band name at you. I thought they could have done a lot better. Cinderella. I don't for the first album. After that, there's a very bluesy hard rock band with kind of a wimpy name with like 14 syllables. Didn't do him any favors.
Well,
What do you think of Disney?
I had them as an honourable mention for I guess a slightly different reason, which is I think the name helped them a lot for the hair metal scene, the look, the name, and probably brought people to the band. But when it went towards grunge, by then they'd moved on to being a bluesy band. And I think Guns N' Roses survived grunge, Bon Jovi survived grunge, Cinderella, I think, would have survived grunge if they hadn't been called Cinderella. I think it held them back at that point.
Yeah.
And they really moved off that sound. They moved off that sound after the first album. I mean, after Night Songs, I mean, they really changed their look, and that really was never Tom Kiefer's thing. And they were such a talented band. I just think the name didn't do them any favors. So,
but it sounded like a hair metal band. That was the problem.
Right. Yeah, and I never considered they looked hair metal, but they certainly didn't sound it.
No.
You know, it's like Rat. You put Rat in heavy metal, but Rat's just a hard rock band, the way I look at it. But whatever. Everything was lumped into that during that era. Yeah, we just put it all over there in heavy metal. Whatever.
I'll throw another one out there, similar to the Groundhogs, a British blues band called Stag Wag.
Stag Wag?
Stag Waddy.
Waddy. Whoa.
What? In
is
God's name is a Stag Waddy? And who the hell came up with a name like that?
Sounds like a prank you do in gym class.
Yeah.
I've got a few, but have you got any, Jeff, that you want to do first?
Yeah, I got 3 or so that I'll try to rip through. One of them, Grant's going to be real surprised.
Maybe not. Maybe.
You're not going to think I would know this exists. Even Ozen had a song called A-E-I-O-U, sometimes Y, in the 80s. It was kind of obnoxious, but the band name is EBN/OZN, and that's just that's just alphabets on the spoon. I don't get it.
They're like a new wave band.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was a dumb name. I don't know if that actually held them back, but
I just don't think they were that good.
Yeah, the song wasn't awful, but one where I think the music wasn't that great, and the band name was terrible, and they got no promotion. It's a band called Super Red, which that is a band that Michael Kiske formed with some, I think, German session musicians after he did a couple of his solo albums. And it's kind of what you'd expect if you think about the fact that he got completely away from Halloween, I Want Out type stuff and went into more like his solo album, but with a metal band behind him. It's all kind of too slow and too... He's kind of it's a little like a heavy metal Mariah Carey or something. I mean, these notes are going on way too long. He's got a great voice, and I love it when he does something fast with it or something like that. But this is just, it's sort of dull. And what the hell's a super red? It turns out it just means very red is what he was trying to get at.
Sounds about right.
Something that wasn't they could nail down to a specific meaning. But okay, I mean, go ahead and be unrecognizable if you want. And the last thing I'm going to mention, guy from Gamma Ray and another band that I forget where else it's from. Ralph Sheepers. He did a bunch of his own solo. Oh yeah, Primal Fear. He's from Primal Fear, isn't he? I think. Anyway, he did a solo album called simply Sheepers, and the band was called Sheepers. And people who paid attention to power metal knew who Ralph Sheepers was. He could have gone with Count Ralphus. I mean, that guy came up with a good name. That's a great name. I'm very envious of that name. But he could have just called himself Ralph Sheepers, and true fans would have known what it was. But Sheepers? I mean, it's like sheep. if you didn't put it together right away, you'd just think, well, that's stupid. It's probably dumb. And the album was okay. So I don't think that name helped them any. I don't think that record, I don't think anybody, I mean, you guys are all just kind of scratching your heads. Like, what's this crap? But
it didn't work out well because I don't even know who it is.
Right. Well, before Kiski got in, before Kai Hansen took over singing in Gamma Ray, Ralph Sheepers did the vocals on the first three. And then I think what he did was then go start Primal Fear, which has been running for a long time since, another power metal band. So there's your power metal for today. And well, I guess actually one more honorable mention. Since we're talking about power metal and nobody ever does around here, Head Guy. Head Guy is a pretty dumb name too.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Just another power metal band. They're not bad, but what a name. Anyway, carry on. Go ahead, Parish.
Okay, I've got a few. So the first one, and bearing in mind we're talking about names that held the band back, not necessarily a bad name for a band. So the first one I've got is Magnum. Now you might think Magnum's quite good. And Magnum is actually Latin for great, and that's how they picked it. And they picked the name in 1975, but their first album came out in 1979. And the problem was by 1979, people weren't thinking great when they were thinking Magnum. They were thinking Tom Selleck when they were thinking Magnum. So here's a band playing pomp rock at a time when everybody's thinking about Tom Selleck in Hawaii with his Hawaii shirts. And those people who turned up thinking they were going to see something like that got a totally different experience. And then, just as it moved away from being the name of probably the biggest TV series, and certainly in the UK and probably in the world at the time, an ice cream came out which was called a Magnum. And now if you ask anybody what Magnum means in the UK, it means an ice cream. So I think their name suffered because they came up with what should have been a good name, but everybody associates it with something other than with rock. So that's my first one. My second one is Slaughter. So it's almost the Cinderella thing in the reverse. I think Slaughter sounds like a thrash metal band or sounded like a death metal band. Bearing in mind they were in, sort of 87, 88. And I had a lot of friends who went out and bought the Slaughter album thinking they were going to get Megadeth. And of course they didn't get Megadeth. What they got was a hair metal band. So I think, again, the name didn't match the music, and I think they suffered. And the last one I'm going to take is actually a really personal one. And I've still got the scars for this. So I was in a band, I played the drums, not a very good drummer, but I played the drums in a band in the late 70s. And we were kind of I suppose you'd call us a bit of a glam rock band at the time when glam rock wasn't in favour, really. And we were called Mist, M-I-S-T, which you may say is a good name or a bad name. That's not really the point. The point is we got a tour of Germany. We got on the gig, we got to support a band that was touring around Germany. The band we were touring was a band called Clientele. Problem is, mist in German means crap. So we've turned up with our big banner behind us that says mist. We've got mist all over the back of our T-shirts. We've got mist on the drums. Yeah, it
There's
didn't go
mist
down well.
everywhere.
It missed everywhere. And I am convinced if we hadn't done that tour of Germany, we would be as big as Kiss or as big as U2. We were held back by being called Mist and being taken across to Germany. That's why we never made it. So that's the one I'm going to finish on.
At least your band wasn't called Moist.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's
so
kind
that's that is kind of the same. Yeah. So anyway, we did change the name after that, but anyway, I'm convinced we were held back because of that.
What was it changed to? I hope it wasn't Stanky Brown. What'd you change it to?
No, we changed it to Strobe, as in the strobe line.
The strobe. They just changed it to Stank.
No, we just changed it to crap because that's what everybody called it anyway.
Can I throw in one more?
Sure.
English prog band, the Strawbs.
I don't know what is a strawberry. It's short for strawberry.
You'd think that. You'd think that. I don't know. Yeah, the Strawbs. I just thought that was a weird name. And Rick Wakeman played with them for a few years before he joined Yes. Kind of between when he was with David Bowie and when he joined Yes. So anyway.
All right, cool.
Pretty good English progressive rock band, if you like that sort of thing.
All right. Cool. Let's wrap this dog up. This has been a fun discussion. I love this kind of thing. Keep it loose, talk about crap. I love it. I want to thank the panel.
Talk about mist.
Talk about mist.
Up mist.
A moist mist.
Well, don't forget, buried in time. What was it? Hard meat?
Hard meat. Yep.
That was a really
We talked
good
hard meat, misty mist.
Flasket Briner.
Yeah. God, this is fun. All right. Well, thank Tate, Nick, Jeff, and the Parish of Rock for this discussion. Let us know what you think in the comments. There must be a band that you think's got a horrible name that hindered their career. Please let us know. We want to see it. If you'd like to be on these shows, we'd love to have you. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to join that, a lot of good discussions up there. You get to see the shows a day early, blah, blah, blah. There's some perks. It's just fun. It helps us support the channel. Also, we have a Ko-fi. Buy us a pint or a cup. We appreciate that. We also just like money just in general, because we do these shows because we just want to talk music and we're just trying to turn you on to stuff. But we'll gladly take a donation. We never turn it away, because we do have some expenses, and we also have Martin here, and he's very expensive. So other than that, let's wrap this dog up. We'll see you on the next one. Gentlemen, keep it real, and thanks for doing this. It was an interesting and fun discussion. So have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you.